This is the Up for Grabs podcast. My name is Derek Spivey, and I'm the host of the podcast. I'm here with my thoughts and the thoughts of many of my friends about the finale of Big Brother 19. That's right, this is the last episode of this summer's show, Big Brother 19. We're hoping to do something very similar for the Celebrity Big Brother edition this winter and potentially do some more recap shows this fall. And I will, of course, share that with you guys later on. But I want to go ahead and thank everyone that participated in this little finale podcast that I put together. And for those of you that I wasn't able to speak to, just know that I regret that, but hopefully you do understand. I appreciate anyone and everyone's support this entire summer on the podcast. And again, I hope very much that you guys enjoyed this coverage as well as all the emails this summer. And for those of you that may be listening that have no idea what I'm talking about, I'm also grateful for your support as well. So without further ado, I hope you guys enjoy this very unique podcast experience. Okay, I'm here with Jamie Quinzer. Jamie, what do you think about the finale?
I thought it was a little disappointing, honestly. I think there was a bunch of bitter people, and I definitely think
so you weren't team Salt? Team Josh?
No. I think that Josh played a fine game, but Paul obviously deserved it and played a much better game than Josh.
So you wanted Paul to win?
I did.
Right,
in the end, when there's
so
only 3
friendship
people
of
left. Yeah. I'm all about the friendship.
Did you have any hopes for Christmas or just no?
I just didn't think she would make it to Final 2. I really didn't.
Yeah, she had a hard time just because she had no chance of winning the comps. So it's just like...
Yeah.
Well, so what did you think of, like, just the whole jury roundtable and the end of the game and everything?
I don't know. I really was hoping that more people would see that since they did get manipulated and played, that they would respect that and respect that game that Paul had.
Did you think what Paul said and did at the end was good, like his speeches and stuff?
I thought his speech was good, and I thought it was very, correct. I mean, everything he said he did. So I think he did the best he could.
He earned it, but he didn't get their votes. So.
No, he didn't.
All right, cool. Well, thanks for sharing, Jamie.
Thank you.
All right, I'm here with Zach Wilkerson. Zach, tell me your hot takes about Big Brother 19.
As much as I hate to say it, it was just an awful season. Cody was right about everyone in the house. Everyone was terrible if you watch the live feeds. They were all horrible people. The only person that deserved to win was Paul, and he didn't because he ticked off the wrong people.
So you're a pretty big Paul fan?
I'm not even a Paul fan. He's just the only one that played the game.
All right, Margaret Boyd's got to take over. Zach's getting a call here. Margaret, what do you think?
I'm glad that Paul did not win at all because I'm sick of him.
No friendship, just all hate, huh?
Last season he had friendship.
So if you were on the jury, you're saying you would have been with like Alex and Jason and them and been like, sorry, Paul, like you played good, but I hate you.
Definitely would. But I'm also happy Cody got America's favorite player.
That was kind of fun.
Yeah.
I like that stuff. All right, well, thanks for sharing your thoughts,
You're
Margaret.
welcome.
All right, so I'm here with Mark Allen now. Mark, what did you think of the finale?
I was pretty disappointed. I think it was obvious Paul played the best game all year long.
Did you think that he had it, though? Like, when Josh took him, did you think he was going to win?
I knew that Josh would win once it got to the final 2 because you could tell after the 2 interviews with the jury that there was a group of people in there that were pretty bitter about
I was kind of going either way on the Cody vote. I thought that could have went maybe either way because he definitely respected Paul's game, but getting kind of like everybody else, he was just too salty, I guess.
That was pretty ironic that it came down to Cody's vote.
Yeah.
You really could tell in the jury it was going to come down to how he voted and how Jason voted.
Right.
And once you knew Jason went to Josh.
I thought the Christmas one was almost a little bit of a toss-up, but anyway, yeah, I feel bad for Paul just because, he did play the better game, and he lost 5-4 like 1 year ago. I mean, it's just devastating.
Well, and I think the thing that, when you look at it from a gameplay perspective, 5 people, I don't think any of those 5 people voted for Josh.
Right, they just voted anti-Paul.
That was just 5 votes against Paul. None of those 5 people thought that Josh played a better game than Paul.
Right. And
I know that he took a lot of heat for some stuff that went down maybe off air that happened like on Big Brother After Dark, but I don't watch any of that. So, I'm not really familiar with that, but I just know if you look at it just from who played the best game, I mean, that's 2 years in a row that Paul really just dominated the house. And people are just sore losers.
Yes, completely. Well, I appreciate your thoughts, Mark. Thanks for sharing with us. All right, I'm here with Garrett Pezant. Garrett, what did you think of the finale?
I loved it. It was definitely the highlight of this season. And nothing has made me as happy as watching Paul lose by 1 vote a second time.
It was amazing. I mean, you couldn't have drawn it up any crazier.
It was so great.
Did you like all of his facial expressions and salt that he was displaying for all the world to see?
He was so mad.
Is there any part of you that feels sorry for him?
No.
Yeah. That's kind of where I'm at. I go back and forth on, like, I feel a little sorry, and I'm like, no. He made a million mistakes. He only needed to tweak 1 or 2 things, and he would have probably gotten a 5th vote. So it's just like, sorry, dude, you had your chance.
He didn't watch his jury, and that's the same thing that screwed him last time.
Yeah, exactly. Like, learn from your mistakes. Like, you got the chance to play again. Like, you shouldn't be making the same mistakes. It's actually disrespectful, like, towards the game, towards CBS, everyone. Like, that's why he lost so many people this year, right?
Oh, for sure.
What do you feel for Josh? Any thoughts about his game?
I liked his answers to the jury. I thought those were really solid answers, but I still wish he hadn't have won, but, you know.
Yeah, it's kind of hard. Like, he's a terrible winner, but at the same time, it's like he made for great TV at different parts, and then, like, he made for an amazing finale, right? So it's just like...
for sure.
Yeah. Very memorable. You've watched a lot of seasons, right?
Yeah, I think so.
How do you feel about this season overall? Like, where would you rank it? Like, very bottom or middle of the pack or what?
Not the very bottom. Very bottom is definitely season 9.
That's pretty bad.
It was pretty bad. This one's... After the finale, it's definitely higher than it was.
Yeah.
But pretty low. I did not enjoy most of the cast this season.
I agree with you, and I think the finale was my favorite of all time. I mean, watching it live is different than watching them, like, over on CBS All Access or whatever, but, I mean, the feelings I had were just, like, through the roof, basically, last night. So, anyway, well, thanks for sharing your thoughts, man.
Thank you.
All right, I've got Sarah Berry here now with me. Sarah, what do you think of the finale?
I really liked it, and I really liked when Paul lost. And my favorite part was when it was down to Cody being the last vote, and Paul's face was priceless.
You texted me. I think you were the only one that texted me because you were so excited. I think you had a similar reaction that I did. I was jumping through the roof, like, in my living room.
Yeah.
It was just crazy. It was perfect.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. Although I was really hoping Josh would evict Paul, but I think it worked out the best for him. And it was nice that it was down to, like, that close to the game.
Yeah, it's interesting. No one's brought that up. I was actually thinking it might have made for better TV just seeing Paul have to walk out the door. But I also was worried that Christmas would beat Josh, which would have made this, like, the worst season of all time. So it's like, it was a trade-off. But, I mean, the fact that Josh beat Paul in the end, like, I don't think I couldn't have written it up any better. It's just...
Yeah, it was awesome. It was like a really bad season that just, like, made it 100 times better.
Yeah.
And then Cody getting the favorite house guest, it was just like icing on the cake.
Yeah, to me, it's like if you're not going to be one of the top, like, 3-5 seasons of all time, like, it's all about the big moments. Like, what are you going to remember from the season? And this season had a couple of just unbelievable things. Like, the finale, maybe the best finale of all time. You've got Josh with the meatball stuff and the pots and pans. I mean, several things are really going to stick with me, and I agree. This finale was just hands down awesome.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. It was good.
Okay. Do you feel sorry for Paul at all?
No. I think he could have, like, I understand what he was doing, not getting blood on his hands, but I think he could have spun it differently. Like, Josh admitted everything he did. And I think Paul was kind of just talking about friendship the whole time and not really owning anything.
Yeah.
So I feel like he could have, you know, played it better, and maybe that might have helped him with the votes. Especially maybe with Alex. But
I agree, yeah. And Alex even said that. Alex and Jason, I think, both could have been flippable if they just owned their votes, even at the end of the game. I think he could have got them both. So
yeah, pretty
crazy. Should have learned from his mistakes last season. That's how I feel. So.
Oh, well. They'll come back.
All right, well, thanks for sharing, Sarah.
You're welcome.
All right, here with me is Dustin Griffith. Dustin is a regular on the podcast, but he has his own hot takes about the finale last night. Dustin, what did you think of everything?
I have my own brain. It was pretty cool. It went down way differently than I thought it should have or would have. Overall, I'm not super satisfied, but it was more interesting than something like Paul getting cut and then Christmas winning.
I think you're letting on a little bit that you're actually pretty salty about how it all played out.
I'm not nearly as salty as the jury, but yeah, I'm a little salty. I think Paul should have won, mainly because he played the game better. But I get jury management is the thing, as much as I don't like it as part of the game.
Right. So, are you feeling like pretty sorry for Paul at this point, or you feel like, dude,
Yeah. Oh, I feel terrible for Paul. Like the dude, he just looked like he was so blitzed after the news that he lost a 4-5 vote again. And like became runner-up 2 seasons in a row. Like that's awful. On top of that, freaking Cody gets America's favorite, who is his like mortal enemy, and it was just probably the worst night of Paul's life.
Yeah, hands down. I mean, you could read it on his face, and that's the one thing I will say is like Paul is exhausted because he did play very, very hard. I mean, he played a tough game. He played arguably harder than any other player that's ever played Big Brother. I mean, the dude was all freaking over the place. Like, he wasn't just in the middle of 3 showmances. Like, he was invested so much in each individual showmance that they didn't even notice that he was close to the other showmances. Like, he had these people snowed so bad. And, but it's because he was just working his tail off, right? Yeah. And like, last season he had Victor, who was like some comic relief. You know, they had a lot of fun together. It's like, Paul didn't really have a number 2 this year. It felt like he had a lot of alliances, a large alliance, and a lot of people who were working with him in the game, but no one he could really, really confide in and really loved hanging out with. And so, you know, in that aspect, I feel bad for the dude. He worked his tail off for 100 days. $50,000 though. I mean,
yeah, you can't often say this. A person's worst day of their life is the day that they win $50,000, but really, it probably was. But the dude had a spotlight and a target on him from day one, so I think he played an amazing game. I don't know how he wasn't clipped way earlier than this, but I also don't know how Christmas wasn't voted out on the first week, so who knows?
All right, man. Well, I'm sure we'll get a chance to talk about it later, but appreciate your time and your thoughts.
Yeah, not a problem. Thanks, man.
All right, with me now is John Gordon, another regular on the podcast. John, what did you think of the finale?
There was so much salt. I can't believe how much. It was like Salt Bay was on every other person, just sticking with the Cobra.
Did you enjoy that, or was it like...
I enjoyed all their faces after Jessica said she would vote for him, because it all was like, holy crap, what do we just do if Jessica converted over to Paul?
Yeah. It's pretty crazy that it came down to Cody, too, who's, of course, the person that Paul opposed the most directly in the house, and he was the first jury member. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, as soon as it came down to Cody, he knew. I think he knew after Alex came and said, well, if this is truly just about friendship, then let's just be friends after this. And I was like, I think he knew right then that he lost.
Yeah, Alex was ruthless. She was not backing down. I don't know why she acted so prideful about it, too. I'm like, you know you lost, right? Like, yeah, you're being salty, but you're also being, like, weirdly prideful about how proud you are of yourself and all your salt. I don't know.
Well, it's not like she didn't warn us about it. She wore a hat all year that said Petty.
I know that Dr. Will in his exit interviews was asking her why she wore her Tom Petty hat all summer and if she was a big Tom Petty fan. Said that her game was free falling. I don't know. I thought that was amazing.
Free falling.
Making John Mayer proud.
Yeah.
Well, what else did you think about it? Any other thoughts? Or
I love the fact that Cody won the house guest of the year, whatever they call that.
Yeah.
But I think the best part about it, and the reason why I think he won, is because he didn't care that he won either.
You were a big Kevin fan too, right? Were you rooting for Kevin to win that, or?
No.
Not really.
Not really. And I think the perfect, and I don't know, you may know this off previous years, but I think the perfect amount of time is like right before, either at the very beginning of jury or right before jury to be evicted and still win house guest.
Yeah, like James won it, Donnie won it. I'm trying to think of other players. Victor, of course, he got evicted like 5 times, so it's a little bit different strategy.
Yeah. But I think at that point, it's like, you did good on the show, but you didn't do too much to where you could burn yourself on other people's fans.
Yeah, you like made it far enough for America to fall in love with you, but then not long enough to where people started hating you. So
yeah, not like Megan.
Yeah. There's definitely a sweet spot there for sure with America's favorite player. I wasn't too salty that Kevin lost the $25,000 America's favorite player because he'd already won the $25,000 from earlier in the game. It's kind of like, I don't know if Kevin deserves to get $50,000 out of this game. He didn't really do a lot, so.
Other than threaten people's kids.
Yeah. Well, any last words that you need to get on record here? Or?
Come at me if you want to play some Tichu. We'll get you hired at Paycom, and I'll beat you.
All right, thanks for your thoughts, John.
See ya.
I've got Brian Trong with me. Brian, what did you think of the finale last night?
I was kind of surprised. I mean, halfway through the season, I would have never guessed that Josh would win.
Were you like hoping that anyone would win in particular, or
I think
did you
at
have a
that
rooting
point,
interest?
Paul played the best game, but I didn't want him to win because.
So you were cool with Josh winning. It's not like you were
right.
like.
And I loved that it came down to like Cody's vote because that one was kind of like up in the air.
Yeah, that's what everyone's saying. It's like, well, some people hated Cody, so a lot of people aren't super happy about it.
I liked Cody better after the season, or after he left, I think. After kind of everything
It
settled.
kind of put things in perspective, right? It's like, Cody sucks, and it's like, well, he wasn't that
Maybe
bad,
it wasn't
actually.
that bad. Maybe it wasn't his fault.
Because he was the only one that knew what Paul was doing, and he figured it out like way before anyone else figured it out. Like, they had to go to jury to figure out what happened.
Exactly.
All right,
Definitely
let's get some of Chase. Chase, what are your thoughts about the finale?
I think Paul got hosed.
You're a big Paul fan, right?
I like Paul. Paul played a really shady game, but he played the best game. Cody knew what he was doing, but I feel
Sandra's
like
giving me lots of hand signs back there, so she's about to cut you off.
I just feel like there was a bunch of emotional votes. It's the game. You got to worry about what the jury thinks of you, obviously. And Josh made less enemies in the jury. I was really shocked Cody actually voted for Josh.
For Josh. After he said he would never look at him or talk to him again.
Yeah, I mean,
he's such a beta.
So looking back at it, Paul's biggest mistake in the game, in my mind, was he chose to evict Jessica instead of Cody first. Because if he would have left Jessica, she made the clear statement that Paul played the best game.
That's true. Yeah, and I think Cody could have went home that week. I think he was eligible to be sent home.
They were both on the block together, I believe.
That's right.
And they voted to get Jessica out.
Yeah, I remember that. They were like holding hands and stuff.
They thought Cody would not do anything without her in the house.
I like that take. That's a good take. Let's see what Sandra has to say over here. Thanks, Chase. Sandra, what were your thoughts based on what you heard? I know you didn't get to watch the finale.
No, I didn't.
You're all right with what happened?
I am.
So why weren't you a very big fan of Paul? Like, because you liked him last year.
I'm a fan of Paul. I admire his intelligence. I mean, he had it figured out, and they just like putty in his hands. And,
yes.
Hey, if they can be putty in his hands, I mean that's
impressive. Yeah.
However, Josh did surprise me midway because I could kind of see, you know what? He knows exactly what he's doing somewhat.
Right, he wasn't as dumb as everybody else. Yeah.
Not as dumb.
He stuck out to me.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
All right, well, cool. Well, thank you guys for your thoughts. Okay, I've got Caitlin Godfrey with me. Caitlin, what did you think of the finale last night?
It was so annoying.
Really?
Yeah.
So you were definitely rooting for Paul?
Yeah.
Or you were rooting for Christmas, weren't you?
No, actually I wasn't.
Jacob, did you have Christmas?
No, I was going for Paul the entire time.
All right, I'll get your take in just a second. So you're a big Paul fan from last year, and you loved Paul's game this year. I'm sure this.
Well, I mean, I was a fan of Nicole last year, but
okay.
I don't know. I just felt like Josh didn't do anything besides, I don't know, hit pots and pans and.
Right, but I mean,
Paul to win.
Are you kind of happy for Josh, or like
no
just he sucks? He didn't deserve it.
I don't think he sucks, but I don't know. I think Paul deserved it better.
Do you think that it's fair to compare like Josh to Nicole from last season?
Probably.
Like his game? I don't know. I mean,
I just like Nicole because she was funny.
Yeah, she's all right. I get that. Okay, so what thoughts do you have about Paul losing? I mean, just the bit of jury was.
Yeah,
screwed him over.
Yeah, I kind of feel like they were very emotional and they weren't looking at like the actual gameplay.
But that's always been part of Big Brother, right?
I agree.
mean,
yeah, but I think it's stupid.
I think it's just expected if you have 2 or 3 strong personalities that are like the types that could be bitter and stuff like that in the jury. It's like you have to watch out for that because those 2 or 3 strong personalities can convince a couple other people to be bitter.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, it only takes 5 votes, right?
I still don't like it.
Yeah, it's kind of wrong, but it's always been part of the game. I don't know. I feel like Paul should have just learned from last year. Like, if this is his first time around, I feel really bad for him right now. But
yeah, he looked so sad.
yeah,
Like,
it was pathetic.
he definitely cried.
Yeah,
I think
don't know.
after cameras stopped rolling.
Yeah, he was
cried.
definitely playing up the tough man thing.
But I mean, I feel like I think CBS wanted Paul to win. That's all they would talk about was Paul. They didn't even talk about Josh at all.
Kind of, but I think last night couldn't have happened any more crazy. I mean, like the ratings and stuff, I'm sure, are through the roof. Like the conversations happening today. I mean, it's one of the craziest finales I've ever seen.
Yeah,
So.
but everyone on Facebook was like, "I'm never watching Big Brother ever again."
Yeah,
which is
I don't know.
such a lie.
But then Paul's gonna play next year in All Stars, and everyone's like, "Oh my God, I want to see Paul again."
Yeah,
That's
and
gonna
Nicole.
Yeah, probably. All right, let's hear what Jacob has to say here. A lot of the same stuff as what Caitlin said, or do you have any
Yeah.
different angles?
Pretty much. I mean, I was cheering for Paul like the entire time, and I just feel like he was controlling the house the entire time he was in there, and like he played the game so well, like compared to everybody else.
So did you think he was gonna win, or were you like worried?
No, I thought he was gonna win. I was like ready for it, and like arms in the air. And then as soon as they said, Josh's name, I was just like,
What vote surprised you the most, like that went for Josh? Like, I mean, surely not Cody. Like he was a swing vote, right? But like I kind of felt like Cody was gonna vote. He was like 50-50, right?
I thought I was surprised by Jason. I don't know, like just because he had said like I'm voting for the person that played the game the best. I think is what he said, or something like that. And
When he put his key in there.
Yeah,
he did say
and-
something kind of cryptic there. I remember
and so
that.
I was like, oh, so he's voting for Paul. And so then I was just like, I don't know. I
Well, at that point,
suspected-
Paul was already at 4 votes, right? He only needed one
Yeah.
more vote to win. So it's like when Jason's was like, I think that's
Yeah.
how it went down. I don't remember, but
Yeah, and then like with Alex too, I'm just disappointed with Alex because like she was just butthurt about it. Like that's the truth. And so
yeah,
I think she's just a sore loser.
definitely. Definitely. Well, I appreciate you guys' thoughts. That was Jacob Myers and Caitlin Godfrey. And thank you guys for playing along this summer. It was fun.
Yeah.
All right, here with me is Taylor Nance to share her thoughts about the finale. What did you think?
Rigged.
Rigged?
rigged.
Are you kidding me?
I'm kidding.
That's a hot take there, Margaret. You're asking what people were saying. That's one I haven't got so far.
I think everybody in the jury house is crazy because Paul.
So you're a big
clearly-
Paul fan.
I'm not a fan, but I think if you talk about gameplay, he should have had it for sure.
Okay, yeah. So no
Told
respect for
everyone.
Josh. I mean,
No, Josh is kind of a crybaby.
he's just a
I
total
don't know
meatball.
What Josh did. He's a total meatball. Yeah. I can't imagine what he's gonna go spend his money on. But anyway, yeah.
So are you like a Paul fan, or more just like you just respect his game? You feel like you should have won. I mean, where do you lie?
I think he should have won. I do think his gameplay was so much better than anybody else's.
But don't you think that the jury? I mean, he should have done a better job with them. Like he knows that they're the ones casting the votes. So I don't know.
I think he tried to, and I think he failed at that, which is why they are all bitter instead of actually acknowledging the gameplay.
Right, which is weird because you think, I mean, basically the same thing happened last season. It's like he should have learned from what happened last season.
Yeah.
It's like didn't do a good job making friends with the jury. This season, it's like he faked it so hard that they all hated him. So,
Right, and I think he was genuinely shocked at the finale whenever
oh my,
they-
his faces were just amazing last
Yeah,
night.
right.
I was dying. So you just felt really bad for him watching him lose.
Yeah, because I felt like he did deserve it. And then Josh wins, and I think he was like wanting to cry because Josh won. And anyway,
Josh was probably like chest bumping him and stuff off frame, and he was just like crying in a corner.
yeah, he was definitely crying last night for sure.
Yeah. All right. Well, thanks for sharing your thoughts, Taylor.
Yeah, no problem.
All right. I'm here with Tiffany Shaner. Tiffany, what did you think of the finale last night?
You know, I was really disappointed in this season. I mean, nobody really stood out or anything. But I was pretty happy that Paul didn't win. Like last season, Paul would have
Wow.
been fine, but
So you're disappointed
this season.
watching, but then the finale kind of.
yeah,
Okay, cool. I could kind of relate to that a little bit.
yeah.
Why weren't you a very, very big fan of the cast? Their gameplay disappointed you, or okay?
Yeah,
'Cause I thought
like
there were some pretty
everybody
good
seemed to
characters.
kind of do what Paul wanted, and nobody
Yeah.
thought for themselves.
So how would you have felt if like someone like Christmas had won?
Probably super disappointed.
Worse, right?
Yeah,
Okay, cool.
worse.
So yeah, it turned out all right. Margaret was really happy that Paul lost, and I guess you were just kind of rooting on the bitter jury.
Yeah.
Similar mindset.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was a super bitter jury this season.
So did you feel like Paul didn't deserve to win, or what were your real thoughts there?
I mean, I guess he kind of in some ways deserved to win, but his attitude was just terrible. Terrible this season.
I know Julie Chen was saying that whenever he was like tossing his hands up in the air and making faces during Josh's speeches and stuff last night, she said that would have like made him lose her vote
And
just alone.
crying too. I feel like the tears were just for show.
Yeah, he kind of kept trying to like fake cry, and it was always really awkward. Like his fake cry doesn't go very well.
Yeah.
All right, well, cool. That's, I guess, it. Just thanks for sharing your thoughts.
Oh yeah, no problem.
All right, I've got Cody Smith with me here. Cody, what did you think of the finale?
Hey, Derek. Thanks for having me on, first off. Big fan of your podcast. Great finale. I mean, who would have thought Josh would have come out and won this thing after his first couple weeks in the house? Paul played a great game. Obviously, everybody trusted him. Took Josh and Christmas to the end, but didn't have great jury management. So I wasn't really that surprised, but love the fact that it came down to Cody's vote with the 4-4 vote. Thought that was
Came down to your vote? You were the deciding vote?
Yeah, I was the vote. It was a call-in vote. It was something I applied for earlier in the year.
Well, they let Christmas vote from the hospital, so, I mean, it probably made sense you just called it in from Paycom.
Yeah. I mean, I'm kind of a big deal, but just...
Well, you got second place a few seasons ago, so... basically on All-Stars. I know that we talked earlier about kind of your thoughts and stuff. You mentioned that you were surprised that Josh had made such a turnaround. Like, did you feel that you found yourself rooting for Josh towards the end of the game, or more like rooting that Paul would lose, or just
I went back and forth a lot with Josh. I mean, I didn't like all the pots and pans bullying stuff. I do agree that he played a little more game than I think people gave him credit for. Like, whenever he wanted his target, Kevin or Elena, out of the house, he would, like, intentionally start fights with them. And, I mean, that was clearly his strategy, just to try to put a light on them and put a big target on whoever he actually wanted gone. So he definitely played some game. He grew on me a lot, especially after, like, Mark and Cody were out of the house, and he didn't have to do all those bullying tactics, really.
Yeah. I'm totally with you there. And I do think that Paul, I mean, we talked about this too, but I mean, he played a good game, but it didn't ever quite click with him, like what he needed to do to get the votes at the end of the game, which we agreed, I think, is definitely a huge part of Big Brother. So
yeah, I think he still doesn't quite get it. Like, even last night during the speeches, when they showed Josh with his diary or his like goodbye messages, and Paul was like, hey, that was cowardly or whatever. Well, Paul's goodbye messages, I wish they would have showed those where he was still like lying to the people that got out. Like, oh, Christmas kind of screwed you here. I mean, he was always pinning it on somebody else. And like, I think it was Jason said, he's like, did he not think that we would compare notes in the jury house? So
yeah, it's like Paul's goal was to get to the end of the game and have, like, basically manipulate as much as he could, but have no blood on his hands. And it's like that combination of things is good, like, throughout the game, but like, if you have no blood on your hands, then the jury views you like as less credible. So they wanted to give votes to Josh because they wanted to reward him for doing a lot of the dirty work that Paul was unwilling to do. And I think that that's meritable. I mean, it's arguable whether or not that is more deserving of a win, but it's definitely a big part of the game. Like, if everyone loves you in life, then you're probably like a fake person. It's kind of like that's sort of what happened in this game, right? So
yeah, I mean, one thing I thought was classic last night, Alex said, and I know she was really salty, but I thought she played a great game the whole time, just trusted Paul too much. But when she was putting the key in and said that she's voting for the person that stabbed her in the front instead of the back, I mean, at least like she had some respect for Josh there, that he came to her and was pretty honest about what was going down. And Paul was, I mean, he would have kept that a secret the whole time, and she never knew what he was doing to Jason and her up until the end. So that was pretty cool.
Yeah, and you know, someone like Alex wants to hear those things. Like Josh tells her in his final 2 speech, like, Alex is, you know, this is the hardest thing I did in the game. I love you so much, Alex.
For
like,
sure.
If Paul says those things, he wins hands down. So
yeah.
Well, thanks, man, for sharing your thoughts. It's some good stuff.
Thanks for having me on. Can't wait to listen.
Yeah, you represented all the supervisors very well. Make sure that Kyle and Mick give you some props. So.
Yeah, I speak for them.
All right, thanks, Cody.
See you guys.
All right, I've got Justin Southwell on the podcast. Justin, you've been a regular all season, so I had to get you on the pod, but I'm having to do this over the phone. But glad we could get you in on the pod with everybody else before I uploaded this thing. So it's really weird. I watched the finale with you, but I actually have very little ideas of what your thoughts were about the finale. So why don't you go ahead and share what you thought about it as you were watching and everything?
Yeah, I mean, the finale itself was basically kind of what I was looking forward to all season, as far as I didn't really know what was going to happen, because throughout the season, the way that Paul was orchestrating everything, it was very predictable about what was going to happen next. In the finale, I didn't feel that way. I didn't know for sure who was going to win the competitions, or really how all of that would play out, who Josh would pick, and that was actually the most exciting episode of the season by far, because it brought back that sense of kind of to expect the unexpected.
Yeah, that's a good way to say it. I mean, basically the finale was everything I love about Big Brother. Most other reality shows is like they'll have maybe some live episodes or something, but the finale isn't taped live. So shows like Survivor actually have what's called like a winner's edit, where they know who's going to win basically by the time that they produce the show and air the show. And so the entire show, like, the 15 episodes or whatever, is slightly bending more and more towards the person that's going to win the show to reflect on them positively. Because if they win, then they're going to be a symbol of the show. But Big Brother, it's like they don't know literally until the last key is drawn who's going to win. So it's like there's so much suspense whenever these juries are up in the air, because literally the producers of the show can't even nail down each vote. And I loved that very, very real sense of tension and stuff that we got. You could tell it wasn't just like the fans that didn't know what was going to happen, but Josh and Paul had no idea. The jury kind of seemed up in the air. The producers even said that the media room backstage just went nuts when everything went down. So it was just a very raw sense of just emotion. And it's like either you wanted Paul to lose or you wanted Paul to win. No one really cared as much about Josh or Christmas, but it's like it reminded me of how people felt in the presidential election with Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump. It's like you either like felt really strongly one way or the other, but no one was kind of like in the middle, That's what it felt like. It was just like even interviewing people at the office, everyone was on either side of things. No one was really riding the middle that hard. But I think that's a cool way to sum it up. How do you feel for Paul, just knowing that obviously he played a really great game but still lost? Like, do you have any kind of remorse for him, or just like pure salt, or where you lie on that spectrum?
Well, I actually felt like he did play a very good game as far as the strategy involved, making all kinds of moves that are really tough for anybody to do. And being a vet, obviously, having that target kind of placed on your back at the very beginning, and coming out all the way to the final two, that's incredible. And honestly, the only thing he didn't do well was jury management. It just came down to everybody feeling like, Paul didn't use friendship. And because of that, he stabbed me in the back, and I'm jealous, or I'm salty, and I'm not going to vote for him.
Yep. It felt a little bit to me kind of like you come out, to use a football analogy since you like the football stuff. It felt like, to me, Paul was the team that was best dressed. He had his sick uniform on, and he came out and he proved that he was the better team all game long, and he made way more flashy plays and basically controlled the entire game. But then lost because, didn't manage the clock correctly at the end of the game, or maybe had penalties, or, was just too sloppy. And it kind of feels like that,
Yeah,
it's like sometimes.
It was
Go ahead.
Oklahoma State, Central Michigan, 2016.
Or Oklahoma State, OU in like every game in the last decade that we've
Pretty
lost.
much every game. So, yeah, I definitely can sympathize with Paul in that sense, because I'm just like, oh, man, I know how you feel.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that kind of stinks. Like, the guy's going to be kind of known as the all-time runner-up of Big Brother. Just gets that far and doesn't solidify it. But, it's part of it. He apparently didn't go back and study any game film or try to learn from his mistakes in the past. So he kind of deserves that in that sense. So, I'm sad for Paul and to an extent, but at the same time, I'm like, you probably could have done something a little bit better. But
Yeah. He controlled his own destiny, right?
he really did.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, he got placed in the middle of this cast full of kind of morons where it's like, y'all don't understand. how Big Brother is played.
Right.
And if you could open your eyes to the fact of what Paul actually did, he kind of deserved that vote based off of the respect that he got from the rest of the members of the House. But yeah, Josh came out on top. I don't know if he is really a Big Brother champion. I look at Josh and I just don't think that he's really a winner. It's kind of weird. I can't really say that too much. I've watched 2 seasons, and Nicole was a vet in one of the other seasons that I've watched.
Yeah.
And so I'm just kind of like, they kind of back-to-back seasons. I've heard so much about Derek playing a perfect game, and
Yes, I am perfect. I'm always perfect.
yes, yeah. He spelled his name the other way then. But yeah, that Derek, I am kind of interested in just going back to watch that season, even though I know who the winner is, just to see how real Big Brother the game could potentially be played. Like, I feel like that's kind of the perfect season for somebody. Like, that's
Right.
the model that you want to go after. So I'd be interested.
Yeah,
to
dude.
see that.
I'll hit you up, man. I'll hit you up. If you decide to watch an old season, let me know because I'll probably watch it with you. So.
I don't doubt it.
All right, man. Well, I'll let you go. That was actually pretty long, but some really good thoughts in there. So I appreciate you taking some time, man. All right, well, that concludes our coverage of Big Brother 19 and the Big Brother 19 finale. Thank you, everyone who's been listening this summer, even if you've listened just once or twice. Hopefully you've enjoyed it a little bit. We've definitely had a lot of fun doing this and look forward to next year and potentially doing something similar for Big Brother Celebrity, which is coming up this winter. But again, thank you, everyone who listened, and appreciate all the support and hope everyone enjoyed it.